Patrick and Linda at Pals, and it's Thanksgiving Eve. And so we just got done with lunch, and now it's the afternoon, and I thought I'd put Linda before the camera and talk to her a little bit about where she comes from and who she is. And usually when I put Linda before the camera, she said, "No way, erase it." But today you said yes. So with that in mind, Linda Dolder, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Romeoville, Illinois. I went to elementary school, junior high, and high school there.
And what did your parents do for a living?
My dad worked for Caterpillar Tractor Company for 40 years, and my mom, later on in life, as kids grew up, she stayed home with us as a housewife and mother, but then as we got older, she actually ended up in a factory called Jovac.
Okay. And so you grew up with working class parents. What or who influenced you to go into the car repair business?
Well, when I was a child growing up, I would always work under cars with my brothers, my older brother especially. He would drag race, and I'd be right underneath the car with him. Every time he blew a transmission out, I'd be right underneath the car with him, helping him replace that transmission. And I guess that's where I gained the interest of working on vehicles. Wow.
Now, have you done, obviously you're the treasurer here and you take care of all the books and, greet the customers and everything, but have you always been in the car business?
No, my husband has, of course. He's been selling cars, but then we both went into business together in the repair end of the business after we left Oswego, which is where we raised our children at. We came to Florida and we opened up a repair shop. And because my husband and I were apart for so many years with him selling cars, God brought us back together to work in business together to kind of make up for all the years that we didn't have a chance to be together. So it's been a blessing.
So you've done other things. So what was your very first job?
I worked at it was in Bolingbrook, and it was I worked in a shop where they made like aprons and sold different material things and put them together. We had to sew names on them, embroider the names on them in that shop.
That was your first job?
That was my very first job. Other than babysitting, I babysat first, of course, since I was 11 years old.
Okay. And when you got out of high school, did you have a vocation that you went to?
Actually, my vocation was while I was still in high school, I went to beauty school. And the deal was if you went to school and went to beauty school half day, at the end of when you graduated, if you had your beautician license, then you would get reimbursed. So it was a wonderful program, and I got all the money back that I invested into my education.
Okay, so you were a hairdresser.
Yes.
Okay, and then what happened after that? Where did you go from there?
Well, once my children got to an age where they could pretty much take care of themselves, and Pat was in the car business working so much, I decided that I still wanted to take care of my children, but I wanted to be able to do that at a job where I could still be home with them. So I started working for an elementary school, and I was started out as a cook in the elementary school, and then toward the end of that vocation, I ended up doing accounting. And that's how I learned what I know to do now in the car business.
And that's basically what you're doing here is the accounting in the business,
correct.
Right?
Yes.
Well, fantastic. So tell me about your first car. What was your first car?
My very first car was a 1970 Ford Maverick. And I had that for a few years. And that's actually the money that I took from the money I got back from my education from going to school as a hairdresser. I took that and it bought my first car.
And it was a Ford Maverick.
Yes.
Now, you've had a lot of cars.
Oh, yeah.
What was the fastest car you ever had?
My 2003 Z06s, Corvette Z06s. They were 2003s.
So you had a lot of Corvettes.
11 of them.
11 Corvettes.
Yes.
And all stick shifts.
Yes. Yes.
That's fantastic. So, how many years have you been here at Pals?
For 23 years, I've worked with my husband, and it's been such a wonderful experience, and it's just been a wonderful ride to be able to work with my husband.
So tell me about that. You say before the camera that it's great working with your husband, but is it really?
It really is. You know, without the grace of God. we wouldn't be able to work together, I'm sure. But, we've been married 44 years, going on 45. And of that, 23 years we have worked together. And, yes, there's ups and there's downs. But what I've learned is as long as you're communicating and you're being open and you're being honest with one another, there's no reason why you can't work with one another.
That's fantastic. So of all the vehicles you've had, what would be your favorite?
Well, when I had the Corvettes, of course, they were my favorite because they were a lot of fun. And I enjoyed it during that time. But now that I'm a Mimi, I now have a 2023 Buick Enclave, and I absolutely love it. And it's not a stick shift. It's my first automatic in several years.
And last question, who is your hero?
Well, if my dad were still alive, I would say my dad. But because my dad has passed on, I would have to say my husband, Patrick. He's taught me a lot through the years, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for him and all that he's given us. And he's done such a wonderful job taking care of his family. He's been such a hard worker his whole life, and I'm blessed to call him my husband.
Well, folks, I'm blushing behind the camera here. And you have to know, I didn't script this. This is all off the cuff. At any rate, Linda, thanks for taking the time with us today. And folks, come to Pals. If your car needs maintenance or repairs of any kind, come and see us. See you soon.